Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My topic is the challenges that students face in school, and then like a lot of the information that I got was mainly how to like balance your education and religion values and how to do them both at the same time. So that's what I focused on a lot. So, but to begin with, I'm gonna talk about I'm gonna go on a different route and basically talk about the Islamic values and how Islam perceives education, and then go and tackle what the situation with the schools. Islam, as we all know, Islam values education greatly, and a lot of times if you are a Muslim or if you do want to learn more about the deen, you are encouraged to gain this education because you can't just follow the religion based on what you've heard or what you've seen. You have to actually go out and get that knowledge so that you know that you're worshiping the right religion and you know the purpose for why you're worshiping this religion. And Anas bin Malik said that the Prophet ﷺ said that seeking knowledge is a duty upon every Muslim. So no matter how old or young you are, female or male, it is your duty to go out and gain education about your deen and about other things in life, because this education will go with you in this dunya and in the akhirah. And then Umar said that the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever seeks knowledge in order to argue with the foolish or to show off before the scholars or to attract people's attention will be in hell, because that's not the purpose of gaining this education. You're gaining this education so that you can better yourself and so that you know why you're on this path. But if you get this education to only show off or to only be better in this dunya, then it's not really going to help you, because it's not something that only lasts for this dunya. It's something that goes beyond this dunya. Well, seeking an education is important in Islam. It must be sought in a lawful manner. You can't just gain this education in a haram way and say that it's still the same thing, because it's really not. Islam has certain ways that, or certain restrictions and things that are laid out for us already, so you can't violate those in hopes of gaining this knowledge and then later on say that you're going to make up for that. One of the things is that Islam has dress codes for both men and women, and a lot of times in Western schools, they also have their own dress codes, and it kind of violates the Islamic dress codes, because like they would, Islam offers that people wear loose clothing, and maybe they say that you have to wear a certain type of clothes that's not loose or that doesn't fit in that description. So there's always these conflict with the dress codes. And then there's also a lot of mixed genders in Western schools that Islam does not prohibit, because Islam says that there's no free gender mixing of any type. This is to stop fitna, so that if you are going to get an education, you're going to actually gain that education and not be stopped by fitna or anything else. In regards to dress code, the Prophet ﷺ said every deen has an innate characteristic. The characteristic of Islam is modesty. So your dress codes will really help you a lot, no matter what you're doing, because it is what protects your modesty and it helps you protect yourself. And then with the gender issue, Ibn Taymiyyah said that mixing of one gender with the other is the cause of fitna. It is like mixing fire and wood. So it is not permissible to do it. And also there's dietary restrictions and other things that we don't really like talk about, and a lot of Western schools are not aware of, because maybe they've never had a Muslim student in their school, or they just don't know. And because of this, Muslim students end up consuming things that they're not supposed to. And also schools don't allow praying on school grounds a lot, so it's also difficult to fulfill your requirement and pray while you're at school. And then the Prophet ﷺ was asked by a man, what kind of deeds are best in the sight of God? He replied, to pray on time. And you really can't do this if you're at school, and especially in a Western school that won't allow it. I'm gonna wait till the end to play the video because it is like long. And then how do these issues conflict with the Islamic reasons for going out and getting an education? Well, in regards to the dress codes, like I said earlier, a lot of times if you do have already set dress codes with your school, and it's really hard for you to kind of stick with the Islamic views and also try to stick with your school views, because a lot of them, though they do make like exceptions for like you can wear your hijab obviously, but a lot of schools have like where you have to wear skirts and it's a certain kind of skirt, or you have to wear something else, something like a shirt, and it has to be like short sleeve or stuff like that. So just being aware of that things. And as in regards to gender mixing, it's really hard because a lot of people or a lot of kids are exposed to it at an early age, and it gets hard for them to kind of like, it gets hard for their parents to speak to them about it later on and be like, oh well, now you can't mix with different kinds of genders when they've already been exposed to it at an early age. And in regards to dietary restrictions, a lot of schools are becoming more aware of it now, but it's still an issue, and it goes back to basically teaching your kids about what they can consume and what they can't, and just knowing what they are allowed to do and not allowed to do. And then in regards to prayer, especially in like JCPS, it's really hard to pray on school grounds because they do try to find loopholes and say, well, if we do let Muslim students pray, then we're going to have to let everybody else pray and things like that. So, but a lot of teachers are understanding, and you just have to speak to your teachers about it, because if you speak to the school administrations, then they always find a way to get out of it or to avoid the topic. But if you speak to your teachers and they know you personally and they know the issues that you're facing, then they're more likely to help you find a way to go about it and to pray at school. And finding a balance, it's really hard to get around it, but one of the main things is for parents to educate the kids at an early age about what they are going to encounter at school, and just ways to kind of go around that, and ways to stick with your religion even when you're at school. Because a lot of times, like, if you're not used to wearing hijab and you go to school and you start wearing it, and people are like, well, that's not normal at our school, you can't do that in Western schools, then you have to basically learn to oppose that and say, no, this is what I've been taught through as I was growing up, and this is what I'm going to stick with. And it's really just, it's a thing that you're going to learn throughout your whole life. The Prophet ﷺ said that we are lifelong learners, and it's something that you are going to have to go and learn. But it's if you do have your core values, which Islam does impose on everybody, because it is something that's really helpful, and Islam is a way of life. So if you do have these values, then it's going to be easier as you do go throughout your educational career, but it's still something you have to learn. And just know that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, whoever follows a path in pursuit of knowledge, Allah will make easier for him the path to paradise. And jihad for knowledge is like the status of one who fights in jihad in the cause of Allah. So your struggle and your hardships in school, it is going to be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah understands the hardship you're going through, especially being in a non-Muslim country, and just the difficulties that you have to encounter. But like, never give up, because it will get rewarded, even not in this dunya, but it will get rewarded in the akhirah. Thank you.